See, we've got bad wires with the ghost images, but we see the slope up and to the right, particularly bad on one cylinder, but all cylinders are lean. We've got to make sure, whatever we do, that this particular cylinder is getting more fuel. Something's wrong. We have fuel starvation there. We need an action plan of how to attack this. The action plan is pretty simple. All cylinders are lean. What should we do? Start off by checking fuel pressure and volume. We do the injector current pattern we looked at. We do the fuel pump current. And we look at buildup on the intake manifold. Why are we looking for the buildup on the intake manifold? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's an indication of service. We've put these in priority of what we think is most important to least important. So you start off, fuel pressure, volume, is it good? Fuel pump, are the injectors working the way they're supposed to? Then you're ready to move on. Now let's go and talk about that dirty intake for a little bit, and we'll tell you why. There's a particular reason to go look at the intake. It tells us about possible needed service. This particular intake manifold has about 1/16 of an inch of dirt built up around the edge. Now we can see this in scan data if we do a good scan data analysis. Idle air control counts are too high. On this particular vehicle, the TPS voltage is slightly above spec because someone has already opened the throttle. We think this indicates how much dirt and contamination we have down on the back of the intake valves, and whatever we do, we must service the entire intake system. So we're not going to forget this intake manifold cleaning problem. Now let's go look at secondary ignition again. This time we're looking at short spark time. Spark time should last for at least 50% of the flame front, and the flame front takes 3 milliseconds. So we'd like to see 1.5 milliseconds. Now we need to look to see if we've got short spark duration on one cylinder or two cylinders. If we got one or two cylinders, look for plug wires. If it's two cylinders common to a coil in a DIS system, it's pointing you toward that coil and seeing what's wrong there. But when we have all cylinders, that's a more bigger problem universal.